Yo.
What's up, man?
How's it going? It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
It's been a while.
It has. So your birthday just passed.
Yeah, man. Aries gang. We're here. We're here. We're doing it.
How was it?
It was great. It was great. I feel like I've been getting surprises left and right. You know, definitely been feeling the love. And yeah, you know, it's a beautiful thing to turn a year older. Can't complain.
All right. You know, I was there celebrating with you a little bit.
Yeah, you know, we had to shake the room a little bit.
You know the vibes, man. You know the vibes. So everybody's kind of looking at the screen right now. Yes, we actually have two financial experts here with us today. You guys already know Fritz.
No stranger to the show.
Yo.
He's that bad. And our guest, Fabby. Say what's up to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
All right. So, if you want, just give a little insight into yourself and what you do a little bit.
My name is Fabienne, and I've been an accountant for the past 10 plus years. I'm currently a senior financial accountant with a real estate property management company. Finances have always been something I was interested in from the time I was 18, relationship with money, just understanding it and helping my peers and anybody around me with their status and building a good relationship with money and finances. I currently run also I started my business last year, my own accounting practice where I help small businesses as well. And I am accepting new small business clients for anybody who needs help with their accounting.
Okay.
Amazing.
That's one hell of an introduction.
Yes, it is.
That's one hell of an introduction.
That's big dog status right there. All right. And Fritz, just give a little insight into what you do. Everybody's seen you on the show, but no one's ever really gotten a dab of what
gist.
you do.
Yeah, so my financial, interest is more of a hobby. It's not like an actual career path the way Fabian has it. So for me, it's always been, I've always had an interest in finance, but as I've gotten older, I went through graduate school, got an MBA, and then in the world that I'm in now, in corporate, I've just started to acquire knowledge and study on things. And now I'm at the point where I help friends and family, try and plan out for their lives, budgets, investing advice, anything that has to do with trying to, achieve their financial dreams, that's sort of what I do as a hobby, and I really do enjoy it. So,
and Fritz got me into stocks, y'all. If anybody knows Fritz, all Fritz talks about is spreadsheets. Fritz does spreadsheets with work, and he kind of uses that and brings it into his hobby. And it actually, he balances a lot of things out. Like, he's really good with financial planning, and like, the kid is just smart when it comes to this stuff. So
thank you, sir.
I vouch.
Good stuff.
So today we're talking about love and balances.
That was well put. I'm not gonna hold you. That was well put. I'm not. Wow. You really thought about that. You was sitting on that for a while, weren't you?
Yeah.
I give it to him.
I was.
I'm giving it to him.
I was.
Love and balances. I dig it.
So, when it comes to love and balances, like, what do you guys think of? Because I know you guys watch. You guys are online all the time. You see the couples. You see the lavishing trips. And recently, there was an artist that actually put out some photos, some painted photos of all these couples on these trips, and they showed the bad side. So it was like a picture, and they show you like the picture going into its background. Why did my email and everything just come up? Yo, I hate this computer sometimes. Like, these things just randomly pop up. But just click X up there. Like, it just randomly.
I don't know what's going on here.
I got it, bro. I got it. It just randomly pop up. I do apologize. And we can see Fabi again.
All right. We're back.
So basically what happened is it showed the background. So it showed the picture and then it shows you the background of the picture. Like this guy, she had a chain, like a belt, and they showed you the belt turning into a chain in the background connected to a ball, and the ball says debt.
Okay. So it's kind of like propaganda.
Yeah, so it's like you see the picture, but you don't know the story. Type thing.
So true.
And I was looking at it, I was like,
That's so true. It
Yeah.
happens all the time.
So what do you think, Fab? Like, what is your?
Well, that's the thing with social media, right? We all people only show what they want you to see, right? They will glorify all the good and not share the bad. So now everybody on the outside that's looking at just the picture is thinking, oh, they have a great life, goals, that term goals for every relationship. But in reality, you really have to use your common sense and think about, like, okay, they're just showing you a picture and you don't know the full story behind that.
Okay.
They're just showing you the cover of the book.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So you're judging a book by just the cover. And the cover they want to share with you is a beautiful one.
Okay.
And they're not going to share what's behind the scenes. So having, people in society really have to stop with the goals or looking on social media for stuff of that, because you don't know the person's whole story.
Couple goals.
You don't know
You
what
see it
you
all
don't
the
know
time.
what they went through to get where they're
You
at.
don't know what they went through. You don't even know what they're going through.
Absolutely.
They want you to take a picture. They want you to see and think that their life is perfect, and reality is nobody's life is perfect. Everybody has their ups and downs.
That's a fact.
So, and then 9 out of 10 times, a lot of especially when people are looking at celebrities, I tend to not like the word celebrity, but the high profile, more affluential people, popular people, they're looking at them and, at the end of the day, 9 out of 10 times, you'll see like, all right, in 2 months after you were just saying goals on their picture, they're like breaking.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
You're looking at
really
that.
people have to like really be more realistic with that.
Yeah.
And just not tend to set their own goals on what they want from a partner, etc.
Okay.
And not be so focused on everybody else's.
Absolutely.
What about you, Fritz?
I think it's all about perception. I think people always want to be perceived a certain way, and they want people to think that they got it. They have a nice car, they have the nice clothes, the nice shoes, and they'll go through great lengths to show that they have that, but not showing that they're in debt.
Okay.
Not showing that they don't even make $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
Or that they use credit to supplement their income to live that lifestyle. And it's that social media makes it worse now, because you see everyone is like on vacation.
The glitz, the
they're
glamour.
buying new cars.
Yep.
They always have like the new phones or whatever it is. And they're like, man, I want that too. So you know what? I got this credit card. I have some, I have some extra credit line on this. Let me
max
just
it out.
swipe it, All right, I swipe it once. Okay, it's not so bad. I'll pay it off over time. And then they want to get that other thing. And then it's like, it keeps happening. And people think that you're like doing good.
Yeah.
But in reality, you're in debt.
Yeah,
you're drowning.
Yeah.
And like and for people that don't know, Fritz helped me clear my debt.
I've been after him. It took me a while though, because I've been after him for years.
Fritz helped me prioritize my debt,
and he's still not there yet. He still doesn't want to come.
I'm
and see
debt
me
free. I'm
for
debt
that
free.
spreadsheet.
But here's my thing: with Fritz, I'd have to really sit down and break and it's like I don't really have to. I work a lot, so it's like.
But here's the thing: that is what it takes. Like, if you have goals in life and you want to achieve things, it comes down to being methodical and disciplined at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you want something bad enough financially,
You got to prioritize it.
Exactly. You'll cut out all the waste. You'll see where your money's being allocated, and then you'll try and cut back. And then you'll make those necessary changes. People that I find that, you know, don't want to come and do a budget or look at their finances because they know that they waste their money a whole lot, and they're afraid to see how bad it really is.
Okay.
Like, how much did I really burn a hole in my pockets?
Exactly.
Like, nobody just wants to hear that.
No.
So,
and that's the thing. You got to be willing to make the sacrifice.
You do.
You know, and a lot of people are not willing to do that. You know, they want to continue to live in the debt because that's what.
Because it's easier.
It's good for society.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I had a guy tell me once, this world is, what did he say? He got a new car. And mind you, this dude was like a janitor.
Yeah.
Right? And he would get new cars like every year. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, you always getting new cars? Like, yeah, because I got credit. Who cares? And then it's like, you know, I sat back and I was young at the time, but even at that time, I'm thinking to myself, you want to constantly be paying a car note every single year for your whole entire life? Like, how are you ever going to save and achieve?
Just to keep up.
Yeah.
Just to keep up.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
And,
crazy.
You know, that's something also that society has brainwashed us with as well. You got to understand that too. Society has brainwashed us in the sense of if you have a nice car, then that means you got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which in reality, that's not so true. I used to work at a bank before I started my career, and before I started my career in accounting, and that was what nailed it for me as far as understanding who is who.
Okay.
Who really has it and who don't. Everybody that pulled up to the bank that had the fancy cars, etc., and whatnot, they didn't have multiple accounts set up. They didn't have investment accounts. Their account, the main account they had, was in the negative. More money was going out than coming in. But they're pulling up in the Audi, brand new. Then you have those who are I will never forget this one lady. She pulled up in like I think it was a Chevy, and it was like really, really old, very old. She had about 2 investment accounts, her regular savings and her checking. Her investment accounts totaled $1 million altogether.
Damn.
She was driving an old Chevy. I'm talking about like 89.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay? And then her emergency account had $100K in it.
Emergency.
And then her account had well over. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people don't have those.
Exactly. But it just, that nailed it in the coffin for me and changed my viewpoint. Because I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't think that, okay, people who drive against cars automatically got it. But it definitely changed my viewpoint on like, oh, so you're driving an old 89 Chevy.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're broke.
Yeah.
Necessarily. Because all of her accounts were on point.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what did it for me?
So,
I'm sorry to interrupt. You could finish.
So people spend their money and not understanding how, you know, having a car note of $500 a month plus your car insurance of $300, you're spending almost $1,000 on something that depreciates where you can't even go back and bring it to the dealership and get what you walked off the lot with it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the reality that some people are scared to face with. And when they actually are ready to face it, that's when they'll be willing to make the sacrifice, to make the changes, et cetera, et cetera. Like you said, Manny, you know, Fritz helped you, and Fritz was saying it took him a while. It took a while for him to get to that point.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, that's even with my clients too. That's where it like I could do but so much to get you to that point of where you
have to have that discipline for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing to make that sacrifice, the energy is not going to be there for you to do the work it's going to take to get you to speak.
That's true. So I got a question for this. We got a series of questions for you guys. So first question is, why is finances important to you? And we'll start with you, Fab.
Security. It's important because of security. Security not only for myself, but for my family too. You know, if they need something and they're not able to do it for themselves, I want to always be that person, you know, that they are able to come to do it for, to help them out with that, you know.
Being that resource.
That resource. And just in case of an emergency, if I want to leave my job today, I love my career. I love where I work. But I've always put myself in a position where I don't have to stay there. If I want to get up and leave, I could say deuces. I don't have to wait for the 2 weeks. I don't have to wait for unemployment to kick in. I put myself in a position, secure-wise, in a secure position where I can leave my job at any moment and know I'll be good. You know,
that's amazing.
That's why finances is important.
All right, baller.
I dig it.
Shot caller.
No, so true.
So what about you, Fritz?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like no matter what people say about money not being everything, but it's very important.
It's very essential.
It is because, you know, for example, when I look at what I want to achieve, my goals, all of that, you know, eating healthy, staying healthy. You know, when you go shopping now, everything, all the health, you know, foods are so expensive.
Yeah,
Bruh.
It's an expensive lifestyle. To be
Whole
healthy.
Foods
You know,
be burning through our pockets.
exactly.
But you're getting quality stuff.
But that's quality food that's keeping you healthy and out of the hospital, out of, you know.
But here's my
paying
thing, though.
medical
But here's
bills
my thing. So to me, it just feels like, and this is where it kind of makes me wonder about agenda. Don't you want us all to be healthy? So why is the thing that's keeping us healthy the most expensive?
Because it's quality.
No, but here's my thing. These are fruits that grow on trees and on a regular basis.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why it's so expensive is the routes that it takes to get here. We, especially during like winter and fall, we don't grow anything here. It all has to be transported here. So somebody has to get paid.
No, I understand that.
So there's layers to it.
I understand that. But okay, if I buy an orange at Stop and Shop versus buying an orange at Whole Foods.
Well, Whole Foods is just another.
No, but that's what but that's what I'm saying, and it's apparent that what's in Whole Foods is much more healthier. It's much more organic, much more.
That's what they advertise. Is it true?
Yeah,
We don't
chemical.
know.
We don't know that.
We don't know.
You got to do your research.
All you can do, and what I try to do is eat right, regardless of where it's coming from. If it's a Whole Foods, if it's a ShopRite, whatever it is, eat your fruits, eat your veggies, you know, and I think you'll be okay health wise. Yeah, Whole Foods they pride and advertise themselves on being organic and healthier than all the other stores out there that sell the same type of products they do. But I think you could stay healthy essentially eating at or buying food from any place. It just depends on what you're putting in. That's really what it comes down to. But yeah, and the foods that are the healthiest don't last as long.
Yeah,
so a lot of
they expire quicker.
Yeah, a lot of your processed foods, your canned foods,
because of all of the extra additives.
Yeah, they last forever, so it's cheaper.
Yeah,
Well, the good things that cost a little more. It may not cost a little more, but you have to buy them more. So that's an extra cost. So when I look at finances, I want to be healthy. I want to be able to be mortgage free. I want to be able to travel. I know a lot of people. Everyone here wants to travel. What does that take?
Yeah,
it takes. You have to have.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah,
you have to have a good financial foundation to allow you to do those things. So that's why I think for me it's important too. And plus, I don't want to work my whole life. I don't see myself being in my 50s and 60s and still in a corporate office. I actually want to enjoy of my life and travel and see the world. I don't think people are built to just work every single day.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's what we're meant here to do.
Yeah.
I think you have to put in some hard work, of course. Everyone does.
You got to earn that break.
You do.
You got to earn that break.
I truly believe that, but that constant day to day. No.
So Fritz.
Yeah.
Does finances play a role in choosing a partner?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. That's a very good question, though. It shouldn't be everything, though.
Nah, I wouldn't say everything.
It shouldn't be everything.
I do feel like it's. I do feel. Sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah.
I do feel like the older you get, the more it's an apparent conversation to have. Like if your finances are in order, or at least if you're aware, you guys can work on it together. I wouldn't say I'd cancel somebody out because their finances are bad, but it is a conversation.
And I'll give you an example though. Like you could have somebody who makes $100,000 a year. Let's just throw out $100,000, right? Because everybody thinks that's a whole lot, but it's not.
It ain't nothing.
But you could have somebody who makes $100,000 a year, which is a decent salary in most states, right? And they're horrible with money, terrible.
Yeah.
They never have anything saved.
Anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
But then you have someone that you meet that makes maybe $50,000 or $60,000 a year, and they're making it work. They have a savings. They invest a little bit here and there. And you know, I find that if you meet someone, you're going on a date, you can have somebody who makes a lot, but spends horribly and not willing to grow and learn how to, you know, educate themselves to be smarter. And then you can have somebody who makes that 50 or 60 grand that is already spending okay.
Yeah.
But you're there to help guide them to do even better.
Yeah.
And that 50, 60 grand plus your income can go further along than two people making $100,000 a year that don't spend right.
True.
So that's why I think it's important. It's not everything, but it's a key, because if you look at the divorce rate is 50%. A majority of that's because they fight about their finances. You know, a lot of people get into a marriage or they're engaged, and then they just now are finding out that they had this school loan, they had this extra credit card debt, or that ex never paid off that car loan that you co-signed for. And it's like, but it's the truth. And you don't find that out until it's too late. And you're like, I love them, I want to stay with them, but now we can't buy a house. Now we can't save. Now I'm trying to help you pay down all this debt. And then, you know, years and years are going by and you're stuck.
So Fab, what about you when it comes to dating? Is finances important for you? Is it like vital in choosing your partner?
Yes, that's definitely a good question, and I do everything Fritz said, and it definitely is. When you're younger, you don't think so much about that. You know, if high school sweetheart, college, you know, sweetheart, you're not thinking so much about that because you're growing. You're still growing together, so you could grow together and learn finances together as you get older. But then once you're older and you're dating, like if you're in your 30s and you're dating, that's definitely something you want to have a conversation about. Okay. And it's not that you need to know all the specific details, but you have to ask the correct questions. Okay. And based on responses that they'll give you related to those questions, those money-related questions, then you'll be able to determine what that person's behavior is with money. Also paying attention to their behavior with how they're spending money, what they're buying, etc., is also a red flag. So it definitely plays a role, but it's not the end all be all. But it definitely is important for you to understand your partner or the person you're dating relationship with money.
So you see me fixing my face, so you know what I'm about to ask you. So for those that don't know, we had a technical difficulty. We had to go offline. So I'm about to ask you now. Are you single? Because listen, because you know people watching this right now.
Yeah, you got her scratching her head.
Yeah, there's a dude.
How do I answer this?
Because this is just for the audiences like that are watching this right now. They're looking like, she is fine. Like,
Oh
yo,
my God.
Send her a
Manny,
spreadsheet,
yeah, like
a
Manny.
budget spreadsheet.
Manny, Rico, how can I get with that?
Fritz said they gotta send you the
So
spreadsheet.
by all means, let them know how they could get with you.
So first, I'm very focused on my goals.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put that out there. Very focused and tunnel driven with my goals. I still got a lot of goals I need to accomplish and want to accomplish. So
Okay.
I've accomplished a lot. Accounting is my love language. Finances is my Bible.
So come with that spreadsheet.
And that spreadsheet is, I love budgeting. So if you send me a budget spreadsheet, Excel.
So hold on. Here's my wait. So talk about. So let's play this little story real quick. I'm gonna paint this little story for you, and tell me if this is accurate. So you're telling me if a guy meets you and has a conversation with you, and it's all about accounting and stuff like that, and through that method, he kind of learns, let me ask her out on a financial date.
What the hell is a financial date?
I'm gonna need you to break that
Go
one
to
down.
the tax.
please.
No, a date to the tax museum. There's a tax museum, bro.
Look, I like
The tax
finance
museum?
too, but I ain't going to no tax.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm just
I
saying.
think you're thinking a little.
I'm
That's a
just
stretch.
no.
Nah.
But if he hits you up, but if he
look,
Sarcastic. Like, I was being
it'll be
sarcastic.
cute and cool, but it's like, bro, I'm not taking no girl
Wait.
to a tax
so
museum.
you wouldn't let him take you to a tax museum?
Nah.
Interesting.
Manny be out there,
That
yo.
would definitely be something different.
I mean, it does fall under.
It does
different
fall
days.
under
Yeah,
your.
it's cute, it's different, but you know,
That's just a little too different for me.
yeah,
I don't
no.
know.
Yeah. It's,
I think for her, like, you know, if somebody likes something, it could be finance, whatever it is, real estate. If you could speak that language too, and see, and you seem that you're interested, and even though you may not be at her or his level exactly, but the interest is there, that person is gonna be like, oh wow, like that's interesting, like this is great, like.
So does the bread have to be right?
listen, I know my
Oh
worth.
man,
and
she
I-
hit
what
me
I
with the
bring to
listen.
table.
Sorry to that man.
She hit me with the
You also gotta
listen.
bring something to the table.
Okay.
It may not have to be all finances and your
Okay.
all that other stuff.
Let me
but
break
you
it
gotta
down.
bring something
Let me
to
break
the
it down.
table
Go ahead.
And the willingness to, equally yoked. Equally yoked doesn't mean spiritual only.
I do.
Okay, so I'm gonna drop it right here. Chemistry's great.
Yeah.
Chemistry's great. Everything. He's a janitor. We always going after janitors. I don't know why.
Yo, I don't know. I don't know what it is with you and janitors.
Make some money.
They do.
They make
do.
bank.
They have health insurance.
Yeah.
They have a 401k. Nah, don't let the title fool you at all.
Okay.
Janitors make some money. It doesn't even matter if you're a janitor. Like Fritz had said earlier, somebody making $50K a year could be managing their money better and have all the emergency funds set up, 401k, retirement, etc. This fund here, that fund there, and have a net worth more than somebody who's making $100K.
Okay, so basically you answered the question. You would date somebody that even if their profession isn't the traditional 6-figure or whatever, but manages their money well, and you actually see that this person has many streams of income, like with Fritz, like with the stocks and doing side hustles and stuff like that, and you see that this person is actively bringing in passive income. Like, okay, so you basically answered the question. You would give that person
That's
a
so
shot.
key though, because
Definitely. Like it's about how goal oriented you are, how determined you are, your drive, your discipline, and consistency.
I think that.
and I'll add one more thing too. Somebody could be making a lot of money today. I work in HR, well, not anymore, but you could get laid off the very next day.
Exactly.
And the people that they go after, if they're trying to close down a section of a company business, the people who have the highest income are going to go first, especially if they aren't producing at a level that's
You're not going to get in trouble for giving that
yeah.
trade
If you're
secret.
making, huh?
You're not going to get in trouble for just telling us that, right?
No, it's general. That happens everywhere.
That's general.
That's a common
textbook.
thing. I'm just saying, like, somebody could be making $200,000 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're making good money right now, but they have no other accounts, no emergency fund.
Mm-hmm.
They're just living as now.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody's making $65,000, but they have the fund set up, investment accounts, and like Fabi said, their net worth is like nice because they don't have debt. They have all these accounts, and the person making $200K lost their job. Now they can't pay for the house. They can't take care of shorty. So like,
I think the most
a
important
salary isn't everything. It's everything else.
Exactly.
Not everything.
That
Salary-
they
It's
do.
about mindset. It's
Yeah.
about mindset. It's about your relationship with your money, good habits with money, and it's about living below your means. You can be making the six figures all you want, whether you're employed or self-employed. If your expenses is only one penny shy of what you're actually bringing in, guess what? You're living paycheck to paycheck.
pretty much.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So answer this question. What are some mistakes that couples make financially?
Who? Who do you want to respond first?
Well, whoever wants to
I go first. Oh, first mistake. They both have bad habits, and the issue with that is when you get into a relationship with somebody else who has bad habits like you, there aren't any checks and balances, right? This is the topic of this, right?
Yeah.
So if there's no checks and balances at the start, all that does is trickle down as you guys progress in that relationship. And then you just keep spiraling down into this pit of, yo, I can't get out of this debt. We can't reach our financial goals. And then that big D word comes along because now you guys are both unhappy. Not that you don't love each other or you guys don't mesh well, but the financial strain is just so much because there's no one there that has, I don't want to say intellect. It's not that. I think for us, a lot of times, especially in the Black community too, is just our parents, you know, a lot of them are immigrants. They weren't accustomed. There's no generational wealth. So we're all just trying to get by. And then, so
There
as you
isn't
get
any
old,
financial literacy.
no, exactly. There's
no financial
There's none of that.
yeah.
So they don't have it to pass it down. So then most of us, you know, we're just trying to keep up, especially nowadays, trying to keep up with social media. So we're not trying to get that financial literacy. So we meet someone else who's trying to keep up too. And then those bad habits just trickle down.
Definitely agreed.
So that's like the first big mistake is just not spending the time to learn it and understand. And you don't have to be amazing at it. But I think small changes and people, I think, don't understand that small changes go a long way. A very long way.
Agree.
I think if you understand the concept of spending, I think that takes you far.
Yeah.
You don't have to. I don't know what's going on. This computer
Did it again.
This computer has a mind of its own. I don't know.
Oh my God. What is up with
But
me?
yo, what's going on?
Yo, it just keeps popping up. Yo, this.
Yo, this
This
she
is
was meant to be here. I think.
Yeah, I think
this
she was
is an
meant to
episode
be
for the
here.
ages. But
Oh God. So
Yeah.
many
Y'all gonna
technical.
have to do a lot of editing.
Yo, bruh. Like, right? Let me just edit this while we here. Because I feel like we.
Yo, the
Blocked
chair's
out
not
Fritz.
comfortable, B. And I'm trying to like. Sorry.
You
But,
want to switch chairs? Go ahead, switch chairs, bro.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm good now. I'm good.
All right.
but getting back into the topic, I do feel like just understanding the concept of spending or the thought of spending, I think it helps a lot, because if you don't understand your spending and you're just spending sporadically and you're developing these habits, and then now you meet somebody who has these habits and y'all developing an even worse habit together,
Yeah.
you're not comprehending.
And can I add one more thing too? Is when people meet, they're afraid to talk about their finances at the start. Nobody wants to bring that up
because it's a bit uncomfortable.
No, but there are certain ways you could start the conversation. Like I'll give you an example of just my life and my fiance now. You know, when we first met, one of the things we spoke about was, you know, how we were able to go through school, like, because you're trying to learn someone, so you'll hear things. Oh, you know, I went to school, I worked, I paid my tuition, I went to grad school, I paid that too. You know, I have no school loans. Like, I love, and then it's just in passing, and you hear these things, and you're like, oh wow, like they have no school debt, and for most college students, they have school debt. So when you hear the first thing, like, oh wow, he has no school debt, she has no school debt, okay, and then you guys keep talking, and you guys over time you build that relationship around it. But I think that we're so afraid to have those conversations. You know, say how much you make, say how much debt you have. I think that's so key. I don't remember the exact point that I told my fiance how much I made, or you know, what's my debt status. I don't remember when it was, but I know it was within like the first couple of months.
You ain't never had no damn debt.
Doesn't matter. That's not the point. That's not the
point. I need
point.
you people to understand. Fritz don't got debt.
No. Hold on, wait. Hold on. I've had debt. All right. I've had a student loan, but here's the thing. I had a student loan.
You paid it off in 2 weeks.
Exactly. I did not let the 6 month
That's
mark
not
hit.
debt.
No, but here's the thing. You could plan time out. You could plan your debt out.
Yeah.
If you, like, for example, right, I was paying school and I hit a point where it's just like, this is so expensive. I'm gonna take out a loan so I could still have some cash to live. So I knew I took out the debt, but I was calculated with how I approached it. So I made sure I know that I have a 6 month grace period before the interest starts to kick in.
Yeah.
So I told myself, the minute I graduate, before the 6 months ends, I'm gonna make enough to pay this off.
Yeah.
So you can have debt. Debt is not the issue. The issue is when you let it get to a point where now you're paying more interest than actually what the loan was worth. That's where debt becomes an issue, and that's where we always fall in line. And I see people paying student loans for 40 years, 30 years. Why are you paying a student loan for 30 to 40 years? First of all, you should have went to a better school that, well, not a better school. Let me say it like that. You should have went to a school that was cheaper, because I think a lot of us like the name. Oh yeah, I want to go to Harvard.
Ultimately, that is what you're paying for.
You're paying for a name. I'll give you an example, right? I'm taking courses at Nassau, right? Nassau is $6,000 a year, okay? And now they have a 4-year RN program, okay? Delphi is almost $30,000 a year. Yeah. The same instructors teach the same material. The same material. Where do you think I'm gonna go? You think I'm gonna go to Delphi because of the name? I could care less about that. I'm going to Nassau. I'm gonna still become a nurse. I'll still learn the same material, and I'm still gonna be clinically trained the same way. And you know, why am I paying the extra $24,000?
And you know what's crazy? A lot of students that like go to a Delphi and the schools in the area, they started at Nassau.
Yeah, and they don't think that way.
And they
no, but at the time they had
it was only 2 years they had to. But
now they changed it.
But if you think about it now, it don't even really matter about name because you were a Nassau graduate.
But that goes for any, like, if you're gonna go and do like a management program, which I think is just a waste if you're not doing any internships. Yeah, you don't need to go to a big school to do that. If you have enough internships, you network, you can go to a Baruch and still land a good, high-paying job. It's just how you approach things.
It's a top business school.
Exactly, and it's not even that expensive compared to other places. But let me stop there.
It's a top business school,
yeah.
And I also went to Nassau, and during my time at Nassau, all of the professors were teaching right across the street at Hofstra.
CCB.
I was getting the same education for less. And you also have to know, you know, about with college and just in what you want to educate yourself in general, right? Because I always knew I wanted to go to school for my master's. So for undergrad, I did not go to an expensive college for undergrad. I straight, ride free, debt free out of undergrad. For grad school, I did accumulate some debt, but I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, grad school, I think people always...
Yeah, you have
I
to
accumulate debt in undergrad, So you got to understand the concept of it. Did I want to go away for school and do the dormitory life and, yeah, of course. Yeah. But at the end of the day, at what cost? To pay that back with interest for the rest of my career. Like, so instead of keeping my money to myself and putting it to my 401k or funding my daughter's college fund or whatever, having, funds for my daughter, So you really have to think realistically and put yourself in a position from early on.
So we're going to split the questions a little bit. So for you, what are some good ways couples can get out of debt?
That's a great question.
And that's your field right there.
That's a great question.
That is really a good question. There are multiple ways. The first thing definitely is I tell all my clients to is mindset. You got to put yourself in that position because your mindset is going to give you the determination and the discipline to get yourself out of debt. Then budget. You have to create budget. Budget is very important. That's the problem that a lot of people, they don't live by a budget. They just live by their paycheck. The paycheck comes in, the money goes out. They don't sit there and look at the numbers. Yeah. Looking at the numbers will give you a real depiction, especially percentage-wise, of what you're allocating the money to, percentage-wise of what you're making. Okay. If you see that 60% of your money is going towards like miscellaneous items. What are those miscellaneous items? Like, they're not necessities. So creating a budget is very key and very important. Then listing out your debt. Yeah. Listing out from largest to smallest. I would create two lists. List it out from largest to smallest, and then also list them from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate.
Yo, Fritz is getting excited.
No, because this is exactly like what I tell people to do.
Fritz loves numbers. When they...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. This is just like, it's amazing. But it's so true, though.
You'll create those two lists, and then each person is different. Each journey is different. I always tell, do what you feel most comfortable with. Some people like to start with called the snowball method. So they'll start with the listing their debt from largest to smallest and just attacking the smallest one first, because then that gives them momentum. Yeah. So when they attack the smallest one and that's done with, then it gives them the momentum, like, oh shoot, I got that done. Great, that's off the list, And then the other list is listing the interest rate from highest to smallest. Then you would obviously attack the highest interest rate first. Which sometimes it would probably take you a little longer because the highest interest rate might be your largest debt. But that's not always the case. But sometimes it will take you a little longer to pay that off. But then the interest rate that's on that, you're not going to accumulate it as much on the smaller one. So sometimes some people will go with the highest interest rate because you paying off that smallest debt, you're accumulating that on the highest interest debt. So then it kind of doesn't wash,
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's each situation is different, but creating the two lists will give you a better picture, and then you attack each one, and then setting a goal and a time frame for it as well. Say 6 months, say 1 year, whatever it is. Setting that goal is important, and that time frame is important because then you're giving yourself, all right, 1 year, I got to be out of debt. And with that, you're giving yourself the fuel and the energy you need to make sure you stay on top of it and stay disciplined with it, Sacrifice is key, and sometimes all it takes is 1 year of sacrificing that Gucci and Louis bag and that,
and that Birkin that costs 40 bands for the year.
Back, every time you get a paycheck going to Saks or whatever it is, you don't need to do that.
Stop buying J's.
Yeah. These people are billionaires. These designers, Gucci, etc. They're billionaires.
And they wearing the cheapest things in the world.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Crazy.
And you're sitting there and you're feeding their generational wealth. You're feeding their family's generational wealth. So now, you got to change that perspective and that mindset and really start thinking realistically so you can start feeding your own.
Okay. All right. So
that's a word. That's a word.
I like that. That's a word. Generational wealth.
That's a word.
Create
Dropping the
generational
gems.
wealth.
We need to build that.
Savvy with the gems.
So I'm gonna give you a little side question to that question that I just asked you. Being that you have you have a child coming up, do you feel like you've already began the generational wealth as far as like passing it down? Do you feel like you've begun laying down foundations, I guess?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Not only laying down foundations, but also having her understand the process too.
Okay.
I've already taught her from the time she started, I would say about 7 years old, when she got money for her, birthdays, communing, etc. I would sit down and speak to her about, pay yourself first to 20%.
Savage.
And then you can do whatever you want with the rest.
Savage.
But it's then I also told her about rent. I would have her give me money for rent.
Oh nah.
No, I like that. I like that. I like
I would
that.
have her give me some money for rent.
Wow.
etc. Like so she could understand because realistically,
Nothing's free though.
That's life.
Nothing's free.
That's reality. When I just bought a multifamily last year. But in the process of going through the whole process from beginning to end, the pre-approval process, the house hunting process, she went through each stage of it with me.
Nice.
And I spoke to her. About, I broke down the CD. CD is the closing disclosure when you go through your, when you go into closing. Mm-hmm. And I broke down every category of the CD so she understood, So having those conversations with your children is so important because it's not about they're going to learn this habit. You're building these habits up with them, for them. So as you're going through it and as you're learning it, even if you're not an expert, as you're learning it, teach your children it if you have children, or even your nephews, whoever that is, a child-like figure in that looks up to you, teach them those things, because then they will have that and set them up for the future as well.
That's beautiful.
She got her paying rent though.
That's great though. Nothing's free.
She's exposed to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
it.
I have friends who, like, during my upbringing, because my upbringing was a lot different than my friends. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things that I recognize they weren't exposed to because that's not where they came from. They weren't exposed to paying rent. They weren't exposed to paying bills. They weren't exposed to certain liberty.
Exposed to spending that paper.
Yeah, like so they would spend.
Bro, we still have friends now.
Yeah,
that still don't do that.
Like I saw a meme recently, and I thought it spoke volumes. I think it was like, don't stop trying to keep up with people who don't pay bills or someone who doesn't pay rent.
That's
like
that's
we are not the same.
Wow.
We're not the same.
No.
So
that's true. And just to piggyback, because people will be watching like, oh my gosh, he has a daughter paying rent. All right.
Yeah.
Listen, have them pay you rent. Take that rent money and put it into a 529 for them. Like
exactly.
ESA.
For those that don't know, what's a 529?
Yeah, I was just a college fund.
Okay.
Oh, it's a college fund.
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't know that was the actual number for it.
Yeah,
529.
Okay. College fund. However, they just changed it where it doesn't only have to be used for college. It could be for
finally.
Any educational course, 0 to any school educational course.
So she can't use this money until she's going to college.
Huh?
She cannot use that money until she goes to college.
No, they just changed it. Before, that's how it was structured.
Yeah, it was very restricted.
Okay.
They just changed it where it's restricted to educational course.
Yeah.
So if your child is in private school, you can't pull from the 529.
Fabi, what do you think of an ETF? Like if you invest in an exchange traded fund, for your child, because I'm thinking of going that route. I have a godson, and I didn't want to go the 529 route because I felt it was too restricted at the time, and he's like 3 or 4 now. But I opened up ETF and I invest in it every month. So I decided to go that route. I just felt like with
that
the flex.
Route is good too. That route is good too because there's no guarantee that your child is going to go to college,
Exactly.
right? So
that's the point.
At the end of the day, but it's all options.
Yeah.
ETF is an option, and then you put it into an UGMA account, for them because an UGMA account is uniform transfer minor account, and an UGMA account is a uniform gift minor account. The difference between the two, I'm gonna read my notes. Sorry here.
It's okay.
Gotta have those references.
All right. I don't want to get it wrong for y'all. UGMA includes real estate and as well as and certain intangible properties like intellectual property, etc. An UGMA account is only financial assets, cash, stock, bonds. Okay, so those are the two. So what those are those are custodial accounts. They're in the child's name, but you are the custodian of the account. And you put these different types of assets in those accounts for them. And they're tax free. The earnings is tax free up until a certain amount, up until like $1,000, $1,050 of earnings is tax free. Then the next $1,050 is taxed at the child's tax rate, and then anything above that is taxed at the parent's tax rate. So it's just a lot of different avenues. I always recommend speaking to your financial advisor just to get more information. And these are things, Google University and YouTube University. It is your friend. All right, it's easy. Google safe different types of ways to save for children. It's gonna come up. It's gonna come up. So instead of, I'm not saying to stop buying the Jordans. If you like what you like. I'm not here to judge nobody. But there's something called balance. Balance it out. For every pair of Jordans you do buy, put that same amount into a UGMA account for your child, or 529 or ETF, whatever it is.
Exactly.
It's all about balance.
Dropping the gems tonight. Wow.
So you see, I told you I was bringing the big dogs out. I brought the big dogs out with numbers. Like I didn't even know what a 5, whatever that was.
529.
529
college account.
College. I know there was college accounts, but I didn't know it was.
I didn't know there was a name
for those of
it.
you who aren't sound in terms of going in and investing on your own. They're also like you can invest in a mutual fund. Is actively managed. The expenses are a little bit higher because it's actively managed. I tend to go the ETF route because I manage it on my own, lower expense ratio. So that basically means for every dollar you invest, if it's like, let's say 50%, they're taking 50 cents of that dollar to manage that account. So, we're just trying to throw out like some options to invest and,
definitely.
So Fritz, this question is for you now. And being that you just recently got engaged, congrats.
I think I know exactly what the question is.
You're getting, and actually you and your fiance put my wife and I onto a show. What was the show called again?
Marriage or Mortgage.
Marriage or Mortgage.
So good show.
The question is, when it comes to a lavish wedding or a house, which is better?
You see, for me, that's an easy response. It's the house. Always.
Somebody's phone's ringing.
Oh, sorry. That's mine. Hold on. Let me put this on.
Yo, the bloopers?
This is crazy.
I'm about to be editing for a very long time.
I know it was me. My bad.
I don't think we dropping an episode this way.
It's a good episode, though.
It's a great episode.
The house. And I say the house because the house is an asset. It appreciates, right? A wedding doesn't appreciate. You're never going to make that money back. So if you have 50 grand, right? And you have a chance to put a down payment on a house or have a nice 1 day event, which is, the wedding, In my mind, the house, of course, because you invest in something that's going to build like equity is going to help you generate that generational wealth. If you do want to at some point buy another home, rent this one out, leave that for your kid after you retire, pass on, whatever the case may be. But when you have a wedding and you're spending that much, even if you invite 200 people and they each give you, $50 to $100, you're never gonna make that 50 grand back.
No.
And then even on top of that, I'm sure even if you pay that upfront cost, you're still going to have some back end cost expenses that you did not pay upfront.
Mm-hmm.
That now that those funds that you got,
they got to go to that.
They're going to that as well. So you're not really making anything back. And then now you're starting all over again because now you have to resave. And depending on, I watch a lot of these real estate guys talk about buying a house and flipping homes.
Yeah.
But I always say these guys don't do it in New York. And I've never seen a guy on YouTube, any one of those big guys, ever do any of those things in New York because they do it in places that are affordable. If you live in New York, this is just my opinion, and you have a choice between a house or a wedding, I just think you're crazy to go for a one-day event, knowing how expensive it is to even buy a house and then maintain it.
Yes.
If that's your goal, if that's not your goal, if you don't care about buying a house, because not everybody cares about that, then that's fine. Spend that 50, 60 grand on that one day rent. Some people don't mind it. I know a few people that they just lease their apartment. They don't want nothing in their name. They lease their cars. That's perfectly fine. But don't say that you want to buy a house one day and then you're spending that amount of cash on a one-day event. It doesn't make sense to me. And even on that show, the amount of people that would pick the wedding day over the house is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
I just can't understand it.
What's the name of the show?
Marriage or it's Marriage or Mortgage.
Okay.
And I think it's 10 episodes.
They're gonna need to pay you for advertising.
Yes.
And I think you'd like that show too, because I feel like sitting there and having fun, like, because they break down the budgets of the houses, and then they're like, so do you want the wedding, or you can get your dream house right now for this amount of money?
Yeah.
And then there was an episode that we were watching together. The couple, they ended up getting the wedding. They chose the wedding because the price range for the house was out of their reach, right?
Something like
that. But then they wrote, and I just learned this from Fritz. When you're buying a house,
you write a letter.
Actually write an offer letter.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I was about to buy a house and not even tell these people.
Yeah, you tell them about yourself, so it helps. Like for you,
if you're in competition, so if there's a bunch of bids, if you feel like you're going to be outbidded. Like right now, the way the market is, there's not enough supply and all this demand. So there is houses that are going for, because 30 bids on a house,
I was just
and
talking
bringing
about
that
this
value
today.
of the house outrageously high.
Yeah.
So in cases like that, yes, you would write an offer letter so it can make it more personable for that seller, and then they could more likely choose you over the other bids, so that's what you would do. I didn't have to write an offer letter for mine because I was in a bidding war, but I won the bid. So.
Oh, okay.
Big
dog.
step up.
Wow.
Big step up.
So you didn't. But in that case, so you didn't have to deal with that couple, because the couple, after they wrote their letter, the person actually ended up.
They considerably dropped
the price
considerably. Like,
so, like,
I don't know what it was, but it was a lot.
They took like 30,000 off.
It was
of
a
the
good
house.
amount.
So it's like they didn't even.
It makes them more personable. Like that offer letter definitely does help a lot of times, because now you're
we
giving
can't all
the
be
person,
Fabby.
the seller, more insight on you, and if they have a good heart,
because we can't be you.
It's going to play in your favor, if they have a good heart. If they don't, and all they care about the dollar amount, then but
yeah, because you apparently dropped a lot on your bid. Yeah, you dropped. So you beat every. So hold on, let me ask you a question. So when you won, did you win like off of like? Did you drop? Did you like?
But here's the thing, though.
Did you overball everybody or like?
No. So what happened is also you gotta. So I went into contract at the beginning of before the market is the way it is now. I went into contract on my house prior to that. So it was a bidding war, but it wasn't as crazy as it is now. Like, I'm thankful I'm not in the market right now looking for a house. Looking for a house is a stressful process, so I can only imagine everybody that's in the market right now and going out there and placing bids and their offer is not being accepted. It's crazy out there right now. However, so in my situation though, what happened, it was right after the restrictions for COVID was slightly being lifted with the real estate market. So now more people are going back out and seeing the properties, right? So they had originally dropped the price of it, of the property to get more attraction, more footwork. But again, this was right at the beginning of when it was like May of last year. So it was like May, June, July.
Yeah, so everything was still fresh.
Yeah, everything was still fresh with COVID, so it's still a lot of people weren't out there still looking, you know. So the competition wasn't that crazy, but it was still a competition. It's an investment property. Nobody wants to pass up on an investment property. Yeah. Okay. So when I found out there was another bid, you know, I counted offer. Then they was like, nope, they're not going to cut it. I was like, oh no, I want this property. So I did my research. You know, I went back, I looked at what their original asking price was pre-COVID. You know, and everybody loved that little 9 at the end. So added a little 9.
Wow. Thank you.
You just gotta know certain tricks, but you have to you gotta pay attention to, you know, I'm a person who loves watching HGTV. Like I've been watching HGTV for a very long time. So these are small stuff that I picked up from that, and then just doing your research in the area, that all of these small nicks and knacks help get you in the door. So luckily for me, I was able to apply those things that I've learned, and then, you know. And
another thing that helps too, cash. So, right, if a buyer has more cash you put down,
that I learned.
The seller will be more inclined to take it because they're like, yo, if they're gonna give me more cash, I'd rather take that deal because
that's what happened with my brothers.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people in the bids now too. Like that's what's hurting a lot of people right now in the market is that they don't have the cash. You know?
So going back to that question, wedding or buying a house, even if you have the nice day, but you could miss out on a nice house because you don't have enough cash to beat someone else.
So if I'm putting $100,000 down on a house, like if you have it cash, if I have $100,000 cash to give to these people,
they're more lenient to go on your.
I might win the bidding war.
No, so for example, right, if you're going against someone who has an FHA loan, which is only like 3% or so down, 3.5% down, so you're going to put down 20. They'll go with you.
Because it's liquid.
Yeah, it's more cash.
They could get it right away, do what they want.
Exactly. And then those loans too, it's just a more involved process.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of times as a seller, you just don't want to deal with the hassle. You know, you rather go with the process that's much smoother.
Cash on hand.
So can I do this? Can I still do the FHA loan? Right? Hit the people up on the side. Tell them to lower the price. Right? And the price that they would lower it by, I would give them that cash from the side. So I could still be a part of that 3% FHA loan. Is that legal?
I mean,
no, is it legal? Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're
saying. You don't have the minimum requirement down payment is 3.5. You can put down more, but it sets the minimum at 3.5 as opposed to conventional, which is 20, or some of these Freddie Mac Home Possible, which is 15%, and 15% for a multifamily now. They just changed that rule, but like it just gives you the buyer, like people who don't have that 20%, it gives them an opportunity to still be a homeowner because the minimum is set at 3.5. It doesn't mean that you have to put 3.5. If you have more to put down, but you could go with that. It's even if you have more to put down on the FH, more than 3.5, but you don't have the 20, you could still put down more. The more you put down, the less you got to take out and pay over 30 years, or which I don't recommend paying it over 30 years. Create a plan to try to pay it in 15.
Agree.
But it's less that you have to take out in debt.
The thing that people don't understand about buying a house too is, depending on how much you put down, those first 5 to 8 years, you're only really paying interest. Am I right or wrong? So the more money you put down only bodes well for you long term, because the money that you're just, and it's not throwing away, but I just don't like paying interest, because I feel like you just are throwing money away. You're giving somebody else money for literally, in my opinion, for no reason. Sometimes you have to, yes, I think you do, but if you could find a way to put more down, pay down much faster, that bodes well for you long term, and it helps you build that generational wealth long term instead of paying for a house 30 years.
The other option too is that if putting down more money is not stopping you from getting your offer accepted, right? Even if you have more than 3.5%, put down the 3.5%, but keep that cash for if there's any type of maintenance that needs done in the house, etc. You have that cash on hand, and then you could take that extra cash also to pay more towards the mortgage payment. So if your mortgage payment is $2,000, make an extra payment that month, each month, if you have that cash.
If you have it, and that's the only.
It's all about setting yourself up from the beginning.
Yeah.
These are things that you just got to set yourself up.
And you and your spouse should have a joint account specifically for the house.
So you do. So
yeah.
Like there should be
don't have a joint account for anything regular, but only for when you're buying the house.
That's up to you personally. Me, I don't care to have a joint account. I think people need their independence still, but there's certain things when you're in a bond, there's really no independence around that. When you have a house and you guys put your time, effort, energy in buying that house, you guys should have a joint account that specifically caters to housing matters specifically. Okay. Every check you get, what if it's a $50, $100, whatever you guys have, it should be there and should not be touched for anything else but for that house. Because things are gonna come up, especially if you don't buy a house that's brand new. Yeah, a brand new construction. If it's an old house, things are gonna break over time. You're gonna need new appliances, a new roof, whatever it is. So that money should be put in a bank account or a very safe fund to just like grow slowly, but generate some to that type of interest. But that should be your joint account for the house specifically. And at the end of the year, maybe if you have like, let's say 10 grand in there, you take half, you add that towards the house payment and just to help you pay down. That's sort of like
great advice. Great advice. Great advice. Joint account definitely for all housing expenses, and then keep your 2 separate accounts as well. Because if you want to, have a separate account for yourself, or like if you want to go out to dinner with your girls, etc., like for your own personal fun stuff, so that you're not dipping into that joint account. That joint account is it's the family account. I agree. That deals with the housing expenses, everything related to the family as a unit,
and respect that account. Respect that account. No, it's so true.
Respect it.
So now, I was about to ask y'all, like, if y'all had financial gems to close out. I feel like y'all
dropped so many.
I feel like y'all dropped a lot of gems. And this conversation is not even over. Because there's a lot that goes into
talk all day about
financial stuff. Like
there's so much.
Yeah, part 2 coming, and I want to extend on this, and we want to grow on this conversation, because I feel like people as a couple, as a whole, need to hear this from professionals, because a lot of people are really doing bad with that.
Manny, can I throw one gem?
Go ahead.
That is so, like, I don't think anybody talks about this, but you and your spouse, right? Yeah. Should sit down, and it could be not just your spouse, but it could be a girl or a guy that you think can be that. Write down your financial goals. Write down your life goals. and then see how that aligns with your financial goals, right? Okay. So what do I mean by that, right? So my fiance, we knew early on we were always on the same path in terms of we both knew that we wanted a house, not an apartment, not a condo. We wanted a house. There's just certain things about a house that I want. I like cars. I like to be able to wash my car. I like to have a backyard, throw parties, and not be so restricted. Yeah, that's a telltale sign of if a relationship is going to work. If you're early on and somebody says, "Well, I don't want a house. I want a condo," but yet you want a house, that may not work because you might, go along with a condo, but you might not be happy long term, and that doesn't make you happy. So early on, write down your goals, what you guys both want to achieve, and if they both align, then great, take that next step. And now it's just the point is to understand how can we financially achieve those goals as one, not as two.
Okay,
so that's one gem that I will say is early on. Understand where you guys want to go in life before you guys start to take those next steps. And once you guys are aligned, like, oh snap, we're actually really aligned on everything. Yeah. Okay, how can we achieve these goals? So I'll leave it with that.
So you got a final gem, Fab?
I mean, I said so much throughout the whole conversation. Definitely budget is key. Knowing your budget, creating that budget is mindset is the first thing. The mindset is what really determines how you're going to be with money, So if you have a bad relationship with money now, but you want to accomplish all these goals, you got to change your mindset and your relationship with money first. Then creating a budget, seeing the numbers on a spreadsheet is key, because you can look at your bank statement, you could have an idea of where all your money is going towards, but something about seeing that number and the percentage of what is allocated of what you're actually making, it just hits a nerve somewhere. Like a light bulb will go off in your head, like, oh shoot, I didn't even know, that's how much money I'm spending on this particular category every single month, So that's definitely one of the first two steps I would say that is key to helping start the process and, building with the wealth. And then I know that this whole conversation and debate, cash is king, credit is king. You need both.
Yeah, because you got to build the credit, and then
you got to build the credit. So you need both. But it's about managing. It's money management. That's what it comes down to: managing the money, managing the debt. So you need the credit card. In order for your, to build up the credit score, et cetera. But at the end of the day, keep it underneath that 10%, at that 10% threshold. Exactly. You shouldn't be maxing out your credit card. Your credit card, if you're going to use a credit card for points, I always recommend get a credit card for points or miles. Use it for your necessities, because therefore in your budget, you already allocated the money for it. So you use your card to pay for your groceries. And then you take your money and you pay
the card. That way it just comes right off.
It's already allocated. Your necessities is allocated in your budget. So now you pay the card. You're building your credit.
That's a gem right there.
You're building your credit, and you're earning miles or points that you could use to pay for the Louis bag later on down the line. I don't know. You have it. But it's about balance. It's not, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. So, all right. So, we're about to close out. I'm going to ask each of you a question, and we're going to revisit the answer in part 2. We're going to do a part 2. Has to be done.
We got to.
So here's the
one
question.
without bloopers.
Yeah, one without bloopers.
This was a fun one, though.
It was.
So here's the question. And you're going to answer it and leave it at that. Don't explain it. Don't talk about it. We're going to talk about it in part 2. Here's the question. What is something that you spent your money on in your lifetime that you wish you didn't? Something you wasted money on that you feel like you wasted money on.
How expensive? Is it?
It doesn't matter. The most expensive thing, or it don't even have to be
like you being you now, knowing what you know. you'd be tight at yourself.
Yeah, what is something you wish you could go back and just
can I say this?
Just answer it. Don't explain it.
Nothing.
Fab.
Gosh. That's a good one. Gosh. I'm gonna say. I mean, I have a shoe fetish. So in my younger years, my shoe fetish.
Okay. So hold that. Okay. And next episode we're gonna, cause with you gotta jump into why you felt nothing, because there has to be something. But then again, you've always been financially smart. So to break it down for people,
can I just say one thing though? The reason why I said that is because even when I make a bad expense decision, I've learned from it. So that's why I say nothing. It's because I made that bad expense.
Stop.
I'm done.
Stop. You see,
I know. I saw it.
You see, that's that spreadsheet shit.
He just had to get it off. He had to get it off. He's like, he didn't want to walk away with that one.
Yo.
Well, and God. I'll add to it in part 2.
Oh my God. Anyways, so Fab, tell the world where they can get in touch with you as far as financial stuff and what you offer.
So for my small business listeners, or if you're thinking about starting a small business, you can reach me out at Excel_accounting_ on Instagram and Twitter. That's AXSL_accounting_
Okay.
On Instagram. Also, for personal finance, where I drop some gems as well, there is financial fitness.
Okay.
It's _financial_fitness.
On Instagram.
On IG, Instagram. Yep. And Queen Capricorn is my personal page, but I cannot.
Oh, that's for the fellas.
That's for the spreadsheet. Don't
spreadsheet.
Don't forget.
Get your spreadsheet together and present it. And yo, listen, you know we got pen pal. We might do a little episode called spreadsheet.
Hey,
all right.
Let the spreadsheet.
Financial fitness. Get your finances in order. Get that finance.
Mm-hmm. And listen, fellas, be smart. Hit her up and be like, yo, I'm interested in fixing my finances. And
show them that spreadsheet. I got you. I'll give you guys a template.
Yeah. Let her see how much you making.
Let that spreadsheet be your Carfax history.
That's
you hear me?
a fact.
Let it be like your Carfax history.
Yes.
I'm correct.
And what about you, Fritz? Where can they get in touch with you for financial spreadsheets and shit?
You can hit me up on Instagram, FG_LOC. Okay. And I'll be so happy to help out.
And you also have you have an Instagram coming out soon.
Yeah.
For FG Financial. Stay tuned for it. I'm speaking it into existence. Nah, but he has an Instagram coming soon, so definitely
thank you, sir.
Keep an eye out for that. And Rico didn't talk too much. I did most of the damn talking.
Honestly,
Rico was taking notes.
Yes,
he's about to change his life tonight.
This episode was very eye opening. I do love hearing about stuff like this, and it's interesting because even beyond relations, I think financial literacy and learning about financial literacy goes beyond that. So like even like earlier when you're talking about like the little things that you're teaching your daughter so that she's equipped when she's walking down that path herself, like I feel like everyone in the community needs that, especially the younger generation.
Yeah.
Like I would love a vision of mine would be to throw a community event where we would have seminars like this for ages anywhere between like 16 to 21.
Rico, man, you're speaking like gems right now, because I always say this, and I say this to my fiance all the time. Schools are teaching us wrong. We're learning pre-calc and calculus, which is fine. I get it. But I've never, in my day-to-day job, if everything that I've done, after I've graduated high school, undergrad, and took those math classes, I've never applied any of that in my real life, at all.
I mean,
but
you have applied math class.
when have
multiplying,
I ever,
you got to multiply,
I
add,
said
subtract,
pre-calc and calculus and things like that. I feel like unless you're going to a specific field for that, yes, you should learn it. But I do think that in schools, in junior high school, we need to start teaching students finances and how to build a budget, how to balance a checkbook, how to understand credit and how to use credit wisely to build a good credit score, to be able to get loans and things like that and credit line to,
Yo, time out. We got to cut this now because I feel like we about to... I feel like we about to jump into a whole nother episode.
She has one more thing to say, though. There's one more thing to say. She's itching.
Go ahead. Say it. Drop it.
No. As parents, we are our children's first teacher. We can't. My daughter, I was teaching my daughter before she started into daycare. And when she went into daycare, they moved her from the group of 2-year-olds to the group of 3-year-olds because she knew so much already. So as parents, we are our children's first teacher. If you just think about what your daily activities are, you're teaching your children those things. Yeah. So now you have to just switch the target of what you're teaching them. So they're paying attention to you, everything you're doing. So down to the music you hear, the stuff you wear, everything. They're paying attention to all of that. So indirectly, you're teaching them these things. So just be more direct with what you're teaching, and don't depend. We got to stop depending on the school so much.
Yeah, I just threw that out there, but I agree with you though.
What you said, Fritz, was valid. In some of the schools now, they are starting to incorporate financial literacy. I know the school that my daughter goes to. There is a financial literacy course built into the curriculum.
Nice.
I think
for a kid,
we need more of that.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, but we need more of that. But in some schools, they are starting to put it in. But then that also goes that takes it out of just teaching them financial literacy. That goes down to who you voting for to be in Congress and all that other stuff. So who's your local representative? You know what I'm saying? So that's why voting is important, even on the local level, not just presidential. So that's a whole other topic, but it goes,
absolutely.
It starts from there, it starts from there.
We going into a whole nother episode.
Anyway, thank you all. Appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're here to help.
She's going in. No. Oh,
wait a second.
What just happened? Hold on.
Wait a second. Wow.
Is it paused?
Wow.
Can I take this off now?
No, it's not paused. We still recording. We got to do this episode, man. Listen, guys.
Wow.
I think her phone died.
I don't know. I don't know.
The phone died.
You know what it is? It's people don't want this shit to get out.
The government's like, the government, they're hip to it. They're getting hip to it.
They're hip to the stuff.
We gotta stop it.
Oh man, but guys, listen. We'll tell Fabby that y'all tuned out. On that note, y'all, as usual, since it's only 3 of us here now, you might as well end with the ugly. But guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode. We have a part 2 coming. This conversation there's more to it. We still got more to go.
If you guys have questions, also please don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah,
you could drop them in the comments. You can reach out to Fritz. You can reach out to Fabby, and let's get the conversation going.
And get the conversation going. We can bring it back for another topic. For the next time we come. This episode is ridiculous. But guys, thank you for tuning in to the good,
the bad,
and the ugly.
Peace.